Anime is taking over the world. Okay, well, maybe not quite that much, but you remember the old days when anime was this niche, nerdy thing that only a few people in the English-speaking world knew about, and you kind of had to hunt around, go to specialty stores or torrent sites to get the good stuff. Yeah, that's over. Those days are long gone. Nowadays, there's an absolute glut of great anime out there right at your fingertips. You've got subbed, or dubbed, or classic, or new-fangled. Today, we're going to talk about the best ways to watch anime, whether you're just getting started on your anime journey or you pretty much live life in a Super Saiyan state at all times. Now, a lot of people think, okay, we got Funimation and Crunchyroll, and that's all I need to know. We will get to those, but I'm also going to tell you about a few places where you can watch some anime absolutely free, because those are premium services, and free stuff is good. So, let's get started. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join me every Friday around 2 p.m. Eastern Time for a live stream. We do Q&As, we do games, we do giveaways. It's a lot of fun. Hope to see you there. All right, so I promised you some free anime services, and so let's start there and get it done. What I would recommend is use these free services if you don't have a subscription service and you don't really want one. So for instance, Hulu is going to carry a lot of what is on these free services, just as an example, Netflix as well. But anyway, let's start with Pluto TV. I highlighted Pluto TV a week ago on the channel, and it's kind of on my mind, right? And I did notice as I was doing my review that, yeah, they've got some anime stuff on there to check out. So Pluto TV is split into two different sides. You've got the live TV side and the on-demand side. Over on the live TV, they've got 4 channels dedicated to anime. Anime all day, that's kind of a generalist channel. They're gonna switch between different programs, and then 3 that are devoted to specific shows: One Piece, Naruto, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Over on the on-demand side, they do have 15 movies and 50 series by my count, at least right now. And those titles, much like on every other free service, is going to drift toward the classics. So you get a lot of Ruby and Ghost in the Shell, that sort of thing. So over on Pluto TV, you're not going to get a ton of anime, and much of what you find here you will be able to find elsewhere too, like I mentioned before. But still, Pluto is free, so if you're just looking for a quick fix, something to scratch that itch, or maybe you're looking for a starter on your anime journey, or just some background noise while you're working around the house, it is great. It's a great choice. And that brings me to Tubi, another free service that you've probably heard about. This is a free streamer that does not include live TV like they have over on Pluto, but Tubi has 200 titles, including much of what we saw on Pluto, but much more of that same. So a lot of Ruby, more Ghost in the Shell, plus more titles. So this is basically going to stick with the basics and the classics, but it does bump it up a notch from what we had over on Pluto. You just don't have that live TV option where you can kind of just keep it running all day, right? But if we're talking free streaming services, then the ultimate for anime has to be RetroCrush. Now, the thing about RetroCrush is that you're gonna find mostly classic and niche 80s stuff, right? But hey, that might be exactly what you're after. If that's your jam, then RetroCrush is awesome, and it's free. If you do end up loving it, then you can opt out of the commercials if you pay them $5 a month, but that's totally optional. You don't have to do that. As far as other streaming services, there's not a ton else out there that I could find on a cursory glance. You do have Adult Swim that carries Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball Super and a few classic titles like that. But over on some other free services like the Roku channel, I don't recommend going there. So the Roku channel, for instance, I found nothing, no anime on a quick search through. They had no anime category. They didn't have any of the live TV channels that carried anime. But I did find some stuff by manually searching. But I say if they're not going to prioritize anime on their interface, then anime fans don't need to prioritize them. There are other places you can go. And the same would go for other services like Stir and Plex. I didn't find anything there either. Now, over on the paid side, we need to talk about 2 big names, Hulu and Netflix. If you pay for any streaming services, it's probably one of those 2, right? Or both. Over on Hulu, I counted up 314 series in their library and about 20 movies, again, by my count. In fact, I found some stuff that I'd never even heard of. I didn't know that they did 12 episodes of Devil May Cry. I love that game. I might have to check that one out. Please let me know in the comments if it's worth checking out. Anyway, over on Netflix, they operate with anime the same way that they do with just about every other genre, where they are concentrating on their own Netflix branded titles. So by my count, they've got 74 original anime titles, plus obviously a ton of licensed stuff as well. So if you already have Netflix, you already have Hulu, then great, you're in good shape. You've got a lot of good anime at your fingertips. Same would go for Amazon Prime. Now there's also HBO Max, but that operates a little bit differently. HBO Max is owned by AT&T, which also owns Crunchyroll, which is a premium paid anime service. And so you might think, sweet, if they own them, they must have put it all on HBO Max so I can watch it with, that subscription. Not quite. There is a really good Crunchyroll section of HBO Max, but that is going to be a curated list of titles from Crunchyroll. It's not their entire library. They usually pluck out, I think, just a few dozen titles to throw onto HBO Max, and it's usually there for a limited amount of time. So if you get hooked on something, you're gonna have to go over and pay for Crunchyroll once it leaves the HBO library. And that means it's probably time for us to talk about Crunchyroll and Funimation and Hidive. These are the granddaddies. These are the big names in paid anime streaming services. So how do they work? Well, they do have differences. So for instance, if you hate reading your dialogue, then go to Funimation. They are the best for dubbed content. So Crunchyroll, on the other side, is going to be better for subtitled content, if you don't mind reading a little bit. If you like staying up to date to the minute, then you also need to consider simulcasts. Now, all of these services do simulcast to some degree or another, but Funimation is the best at it. They have some shows available within hours of their release in Japan. Now, there are some titles that need to be dubbed and might take as long as a couple of weeks, but hey, that's not too bad, right? Better than waiting a year or more, right? So the next season comes out and you're just catching up on the end of the last one. But in general, Funimation is also going to be better for classic titles. Crunchyroll, on the other hand, will be better for mostly the newer shows, if you really want to stay up to date with the stuff that's coming out now. I'm not talking about simulcasts, but just what's in their library. Crunchyroll errs on the side of newer. And what's this all gonna cost you? Well, Crunchyroll goes for $8 a month. Funimation goes for $6 a month or $8 a month, depending on which tier you want. And I think there's actually one higher tier, but we can disregard that for now. Now, both of those come with a 14-day free trial. Now, if you've been paying attention, then you might remember at the beginning of this section, I mentioned Crunchyroll, Funimation, and Hidive. So why haven't I talked about Hidive? Well, Hidive is another premium service that you can get for $5 a month. Now, that one has a 30-day free trial if you want to just go try it out. But why haven't I talked about Hidive much with regards to the other two? Well, Hidive it's good. It's got some free content available that you can check out, or the $5 a month, like I said. But the thing about Hidive is, while they do have some free content available, it's really best if you pay that $5, and the library that they have is somewhat limited compared to the other two services. And if you don't pay the $5, it's going to be commercial supported, and some people find that annoying. I know I do. Now, if you're leaning toward Crunchyroll, then here's what I would suggest. I'm gonna throw another name at you. Consider Verve, VRV. Verve goes for $10 a month total. And with Verve, you get Crunchyroll and Hidive, plus a few other services that aren't anime, but that you might find fun as well. So that's the lay of the land. If you're an anime junkie, then you probably knew about most of this stuff, but hopefully I gave you some tips for, especially on the free side. Most anime junkies have heard of Funimation and Crunchyroll and Hidive, but you may not have known that there was something called RetroCrush, or that you could get quite a few good free titles over on Tubi. So yeah, good hunting. Find some great anime out there, and let me know in the comments if I missed any services that you think are must-haves or at least must-considers. And give this video a like and subscribe on your way down there. And like I said, don't forget to join us on Fridays for our live streams. I'd love to see you there. I love interacting with all of you. So I will see you on Friday. Thanks for watching.